Even though the legislature is not sitting, we continue to work on issues critical to our constituents. For example, the revitalization of the Water Act. This is an act that's like 100 years old, and it really doesn't meet the needs of communities all over British Columbia, and in particular, Cowichan Valley is interested in watershed protection. The Shawnigan area has a number of community groups that want to play more of an active role in watershed management. Certainly the Cowichan River and all of the Cowichan Lake region, there are groups that are extremely concerned about the lack of proper management of the watershed. And this is true in communities all over British Columbia, but part of the discussion can only take place if the legislature meets and we get to debate some of the proposed changes to the Water Act. For democracy to work, the government has to sit with the opposition and go through the important issues of the day. In British Columbia, there are all kinds of major issues, whether it be hydro or the exorbitant bonuses that ferry executives have been getting paid. And at the end of the day, this government has only sat 36 days in this last year. That's not acceptable in my mind in a democracy. Ironically, I found myself going to Victoria to meet with students from the Shawnigan School right here in the Cowichan Valley. And it was difficult to explain to them that they were seeing an empty building, that they got to go up into the gallery and look down on a sea of empty seats, and the fact that nobody was there to debate issues that are important to them. For example, the watershed that they're in, people are feeling it's being contaminated by the dumping of contaminated soil in the watershed, and they want to know what government's going to do to protect them and their water supply now and in the future. How can I go and defend their interests in the legislature when the government just refuses to meet and are absent, I would say, without leave? In my old days in the forest industry, if you were absent without leave for 3 days, you could be fired. This government just takes the rest of the year off, and there doesn't seem to be any accountability for that. You know, yes, they won the election, doesn't mean they can take the rest of the year to go running around cutting ribbons and taking trips all over the world. Some of what needs to be done in the constituency, for example, that frustrates me, and this is just a small sampling. I had a mom come in and talk to me about her 8-year-old autistic child who is being treated as not having multiple barriers, even though she's got autism and is 100% blind. Now, this mom explained to me that if her child had autism and was deaf, she would qualify for the multiple barriers provision and would be entitled to funding to help that child with her education. Isn't it ridiculous that government would have rules that actually discriminate between children with deafness or 100% blindness? And those are the kind of issues that I should be able to go and raise and defend my constituents. One of the issues that we would like to address, and I would love to ask questions about, is how are seniors in our community is going to deal with double-digit increases to hydro when the province has been taking huge chunks of money out of hydro and have these deferral accounts with debt really hidden away from the public. How are our seniors and future generations supposed to pay for the debt that this government has incurred in hydro? and not keeping up with the expenses that hydro should have incurred over the last 10 years in terms of upgrades and maintaining the system. Even though the ledge isn't sitting, we're still doing work. For example, the seniors that come through the door that have concerns about their hydro bill, we often phone on their behalf. There are times where we can help them deal with hydro in terms of some kind of a payment plan. Sometimes we suggest that hydro needs to do another reading of their meter, that kind of thing. You advocate on behalf of constituents. That's one of the primary roles of MLAs, even if it's something that is not necessarily tied to provincial legislation. I feel it's our job as kind of the last resort for many people who come in and they're just frustrated with their issue and would like some form of action. So with my very competent staff and myself, we often turn our minds to issues. And I could give you an example of one. We had a couple of teachers move from Alberta to the Cowichan Valley, and they happened to move right next door to a sewage transfer station. We contacted the appropriate municipal representatives. They took some corrective action. We also, one of our staff went door to door and introduced the couple from Alberta and talked about their plight with the requirement to put these satchels into their sewage system. And we got a nice Christmas card from them acknowledging our help and thanking us for the new friends that they had made here in the Cowichan Valley as a result of their interaction with the MLA's office.